Beginning, the engineer who was never meant to be chosen. I was never meant to stand inside a royal alien palace. I was a mechanic. A systems repair engineer. The kind of man who fixed broken shields on cargo freighters and patched leaking plasma conduits on forgotten space stations. My hands were used to grease, sparks, and burn scars, not royal silk or crystal floors. When the Imperial Guard of seized my transport and dragged me through hyperspace without explanation, I assumed I was about to die. The guards never spoke. They escorted me through towering gates made of glowing black matter, into a city that spiraled upward like a living machine. At its heart stood the palace, a vast structure of shimmering yellow and radiant energy, pulsing with power that made my teeth vibrate. Inside, nobles of a dozen alien species turned to stare at me. With scales, wings, glowing eyes, metallic limbs. And at the far end of the hall the Queen. Queen of. Her armor was legendary, living plating said to be bonded directly to her nervous system. It had deflected asteroid strikes, plasma storms, even planetary weapons. Yet now she stood immovable upon her throne, energy flickering weakly across the damaged surface. A alien stepped forward. Human engineer. You will repair Her Majesty's armor. Failure means death. No pressure. They led me closer. The closer I came, the more I could feel the armor malfunctioning, its energy matrix unstable, misaligned at the core. This wasn't combat damage. It was something deeper. A resonance fracture. I'll try, I said quietly. The Queen raised her head. Her eyes were glowing silver. Ancient. Watching. No fear. Only calculation. I knelt beside her and carefully placed my tools against living alien matter. The entire palace held its breath. Mida, the repair that changed everything. The armor reacted to my touch immediately, its surface flowing like liquid matter and on my instrument. No human tech manuals could have prepared me for this. I worked by instinct, reading energy patterns the way a musician reads sound. Minutes stretched into an hour. My hands trembled as I stabilized the power lattice Then it happened. The armor flooded vents, bright as a star, and then settled. Perfect. The energy stabilized. The Queen inhaled sharply for the first time since I'd arrived. And then the palace erupted. Groom. The cry thundered through the chamber like an earthquake. Groom. 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 I froze, hands still on the Queen's armor. I didn't even understand the word in their language at first, but the meaning hit me like a meteor. Companion. Chosen. Bonded. My blood ran cold. What did I do? I whispered. The high nobles dropped to their knees. The guards lowered their weapons. Even the towering warriors bent their heads. And Queen was staring at me. Not with anger. Not with shock. With something far more dangerous. Recognition. The royal law revealed. They explained it later, after I was taken to a chamber of polished crystal and seated before the entire royal court. The Queen's armor was not merely protection. It was a living royal relic, older than their civilization. The armor only fully bonded once in a lifetime and only to one being who could repair its deepest fracture without rejecting its living core. That being became permanently linked to the Queen. Not as a servant. Not as a subject. As her consort. Her equal in bond, if not in title. The last time this had happened was over 3,000 years ago. And that Groom had gone on to become the most powerful being in their empire's history. I tried to refuse. I'm human. I don't belong here. The queen finally spoke. You were chosen by the armor, she said calmly. I did not summon you for this purpose. Yet fate does not require permission. The nobles shouted again. The bond is sealed. And just like that my old life ended. Conflict, enemies in the shadows. Not everyone celebrated. Royal bloodlines shifted overnight. Political power trembled. Entire factions rose against the idea of a human bonded to their queen. Assassination attempts began within days. Poison in my food. Energy blades hidden in ceremonial halls. An attack during my first public appearance beside the queen. Each time, her warriors stopped them, until the final attempt. This one reached her. During a private procession through the inner sanctum, a cloaked noble unleashed a weapon meant to rip the queen's core from her chest. I moved without thinking. I stepped in front of her. The blast tore into my body, and didn't kill me. It burned. It ripped. It should have turned me to ash. But her armor surged. It wrapped around me. Protected me. Healed me. The palace guards executed the traitor instantly. And the queen caught me as I collapsed. For the first time in centuries. The alien queen screamed in fear. The bond awakens. When I woke, I was not in a medical chamber. I was in her private sanctum.
The queen sat beside me, no armor now, only flowing ceremonial garments, glowing faintly with royal energy. Her hand rested lightly on my chest. You should be dead, she said quietly. I know, I croaked. The armor recognized you fully when you chose to protect me. That finalized the bond. I looked at her. So this isn't just tradition anymore. No, she said. It is destiny. From that moment, everything changed. I could feel her emotions, her stress, her strength. Not words. Not thoughts. Something deeper. A resonance. Enemies felt it too. So did the Empire. War at the gates. The rebel factions finally made their move. A coalition of rival noble houses launched a coordinated assault on the palace using stolen dreadnoughts and forbidden weaponry. Orbital defenses shattered. The sky burned. The palace shields began to fail. The queen stood at the command platform, armies mobilizing below as chaos erupted across the capital. She turned to me. You were once an engineer, she said. Now you are something far more dangerous. The armor responded before I even reached for it. It flowed across my body, not copying hers, not replacing it, but forming a new royal array, tuned only to me. The palace gasped. No second groom had ever existed in their history. I lifted my hands. And the city listened. Energy surged through me, not destructive, not wild, but focused, precise. I rebuilt the shield network in seconds. Rewrote targeting systems mid-battle. Redirected asteroid-sized kinetic weapons back into open space. Then I did something no being had ever done. I forced every enemy ship offline simultaneously. The war ended in silence. Ending from mechanic to legend. The rebellion collapsed overnight. The noble houses bent their knees. The galaxy took notice. A human engineer had become a royal bonded guardian. Not through conquest. Not through bloodline. But through courage, skill, and choice. On the day of the formal bonding ceremony, the palace was silent with awe. No chains. No commands. Only two beings standing beneath the living stars. The queen approached me. You were never meant to be groom, she said softly. I never meant to be, I replied. Her hand found mine. Yet here you stand. The palace spoke as one. Groom. But this time, They said it with reverence. And somewhere across the stars, the story spread. That a simple human once fixed broken armor and reshaped an empire.